Have you ever noticed how the loudest person in the room is often the one doing the least? Noise doesn't create success. Silence does. The most powerful people in the world don't announce what they're doing. They move quietly, strategically, and let their success make the noise. Today, I want to tell you this: stop talking about your plans, start working on them. Because when you move in silence, the results will speak louder than any words you could ever say. Most people misunderstand silence. They see it as emptiness, as the absence of confidence, or as a sign that someone has nothing to offer. But the truth is the opposite. Silence is strength in its purest form. It's the space where clarity is born, where focus sharpens, and where real power begins to grow. When you choose silence, you're not avoiding the world. You're mastering yourself. You're refusing to let noise distract you from your purpose. You're stepping out of the crowd, not because you're afraid, but because you understand something they don't, that every loud voice eventually fades, but the quiet mind keeps building. Power doesn't shout. It whispers through results. When you stop talking about your dreams and start working on them quietly, something incredible happens. Your energy shifts. You no longer need validation from others to feel valuable. You no longer measure your worth by the applause of the crowd. Instead, you begin to measure it by your progress, by the small victories that no one sees but you. This is where true growth begins. The loud ones are often chasing attention, but the silent ones are chasing mastery. The loud ones want to be seen working. The silent ones want to become the work itself. Silence creates discipline because it forces you to focus on what truly matters, the process, not the praise. Silence also gives you control. Control over your words, your emotions, and your direction. When you talk too much about your goals, you open the door for opinions, doubts, and negativity to walk in. People will project their fears onto you. They'll question your dreams because they can't see your vision. But when you move silently, you eliminate that noise. You keep your energy protected. You learn to channel your focus inward, where it belongs. Silence becomes your armor. It shields your confidence from unnecessary attacks and your motivation from draining conversations. You no longer have to defend what you believe in. You simply prove it through what you accomplish. And make no mistake, silence doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing everything that matters privately. The quiet worker is not idle. They are simply hidden. They are the ones burning the midnight oil, learning, practicing, experimenting, improving, while others are busy talking about what they might do someday. Silent work doesn't show up on social media. It happens in notebooks, in late nights, in lonely rooms filled with purpose. And that's why it's so powerful. Because when no one is watching, your intentions are pure. You're not working for applause. You're working for transformation. You're not performing, you're preparing. And preparation done in silence leads to results that roar. When you move silently, you also gain the most valuable advantage of all: unpredictability. People can't attack what they can't see. They can't compete with a strategy they don't know exists. When you broadcast your every move, you invite interference. But when you operate quietly, you become a mystery. You strike when they least expect it. And when your success finally appears, it seems sudden, almost magical. But you and you alone will know it wasn't magic, it was months, maybe years, of silent movement. Invisible to everyone, but deeply felt by you. That's the beauty of quiet power. It doesn't announce itself. It just arrives, undeniable and unstoppable. The greatest strength in this world isn't found in shouting louder. It's found in listening deeper. When you're silent, you start hearing things others miss. Opportunities, intuition, inner wisdom. You begin to understand yourself, your goals, your direction, in ways that noise could never allow. Silence connects you with your purpose. It sharpens your instinct. It helps you see the difference between what's urgent and what's important. And the moment you realize that silence is not weakness, but wisdom, you stop chasing attention and start chasing excellence. You stop telling people what you'll do and start showing them what you've done. Because real power, the kind that builds empires, the kind that changes lives, never comes from noise. It comes from the quiet strength of someone who knows exactly where they're going and doesn't need to say a word about it. In today's world, everyone wants to be seen. People post their dreams before they've even started working on them. They announce goals, plans, and promises to the world, hoping for applause before effort. But let me tell you something, results don't need announcements. The world doesn't reward intentions, it rewards proof. Talking about what you'll do makes you feel good for a moment, but it tricks your brain into believing you've already achieved something. The truth, every minute you spend telling people your plans is a minute stolen from actually executing them. Greatness never needs a microphone. It just needs motion. When you work quietly, you give yourself the freedom to fail, to adjust, and to grow without pressure. Public promises create a cage. They trap you in expectations that aren't real yet. You start performing for others instead of progressing for yourself. You worry more about how you look than who you're becoming. But when you keep your work to yourself, you remove the audience. There's no pressure to please, no judgment to fear. It's just you, your goals, and your effort. You can fall, rise, and learn at your own pace. That's where authenticity lives, in private effort, not public display. Because real success doesn't need an audience to begin. It only needs one when it's ready to perform. Think about nature. The sun doesn't announce every morning, I'm going to rise. It just does. The flower doesn't declare when it will bloom. One day it just opens and everyone notices. That's how results work. They don't need warnings or promises. They arrive quietly and change everything. When your work is ready, it won't need you to explain it. Your results will be your proof. Your transformation will be your statement. The same people who didn't believe in you will be the ones asking how you did it. That's the beauty of silent success. It surprises everyone, including those who doubted you most. And remember this, talking is cheap, but results are expensive. Words cost nothing, but execution costs effort, time, and consistency. Anyone can say, I'll start a business, I'll change my life, or I'll make it big, but only a few have the courage to stay up late, fail, start again, and do it without anyone cheering for them. Results are built on sweat, not speeches. So while the talkers are busy announcing their goals, the silent ones are already halfway through achieving theirs. That's why you should never underestimate the person who says nothing. Silence often hides the most unstoppable determination. When you stop announcing your plans, you also stop inviting doubt. People project their fears onto you. They'll say, that's impossible, not because it is, but because they couldn't do it themselves. Their disbelief isn't about you, it's about them. But if they don't know what you're building, they can't destroy it. When you protect your vision with silence, you give it space to grow without being poisoned by negativity. You allow your work to mature, your ideas to evolve, and your confidence to strengthen, all before anyone even knows what's happening. Then, when your results finally appear, they're undeniable. You don't have to argue, prove, or explain. Success becomes your defense, and results become your response. There's a quiet satisfaction that comes when people see your results for the first time. They remember your silence, and suddenly, it all makes sense. They realize that while they were talking, you were building. While they were doubting, you were preparing. And when your time comes, you don't just arrive, you dominate. Because the results don't lie. They don't argue. They don't boast. They just stand there, shining like truth itself. So stop announcing your next move. Let the world wonder what you're up to. Let them underestimate you. Because one day, they won't be able to ignore what your silence has created. You don't need to tell them what's coming. They'll see it when it arrives. Growth is one of the most misunderstood parts of success. Everyone wants to shine, but very few are willing to grow in silence. Private growth is the foundation of every visible success story. You cannot stand tall in public if you have not learned to grow in private. The world only sees the fruit, but never the roots that made it possible. It's easy to clap for the final result, but the journey that shaped it, the loneliness, the failures, the late nights, the quiet battles, that's the real story. Growth doesn't happen on stage, it happens behind closed doors. And that's why private growth is the most sacred, most powerful stage of transformation. When you choose to grow privately, you choose to build without distraction. You stop caring about being noticed and start focusing on becoming better. You disappear, not because you've given up, but because you're preparing for your next level. Think of it like a seed planted deep underground. For months, it's invisible. No one claps for it. No one even remembers it exists. But in that darkness, it's developing roots, strengthening itself, preparing for the moment it will rise. That's what private growth does for you. It gives you unseen strength. You may look still on the surface, but beneath that calm, you are becoming unstoppable. The world today pressures you to stay visible, to show progress, to post achievements, to update everyone about your journey. But real growth doesn't seek attention. It seeks improvement. You don't need to prove you're evolving. You just need to keep evolving. Growth is not a performance. It's a process. You will make mistakes. You will fail. And sometimes you will doubt yourself. That's why it's better to do it privately. Because when you grow in private, you allow yourself to fail without fear of judgment. You give yourself space to learn, to heal, and to rebuild. You stop living for applause and start living for mastery. Private growth is not about hiding, it's about protecting. Protecting your energy, your mindset, and your vision from the world's noise. People can't destroy what they can't see. When you're building quietly, no one knows when or where to attack. You're growing beyond their opinions, their limits, their expectations. Every great transformation happens when you decide to step back from the noise and go within. You start studying harder, training longer, thinking deeper. You start cutting out distractions and replacing them with discipline. You start letting go of old habits, old fears, and old versions of yourself. In that silence, you evolve. You shed the person you were and step into the person you were meant to become. And the best part, private growth doesn't ask for credit. It doesn't need an audience. You'll start to notice the changes before anyone else does. In your thoughts, in your habits, in the way you carry yourself, you'll become calmer, wiser, sharper. You'll realize that growth isn't loud, it's consistent. You don't have to tell people you've changed. They'll feel it. You don't have to explain your transformation. It will show in your results, your decisions, your success. The person who quietly works on themselves every day becomes someone the old version of them could barely recognize. That's the magic of private growth. It doesn't ask for attention, yet it creates impact that everyone notices eventually. One day, when your growth finally becomes visible, people will think it happened overnight. They'll call it luck, or timing, or a sudden breakthrough. But you'll know the truth, that it wasn't sudden at all. It was years of invisible work, small steps, and personal sacrifices that no one ever saw. The sleepless nights, the quiet mornings, the tough decisions, those were your roots. That was your private growth. So when you finally rise, stand tall with quiet pride. You earned your strength in silence. Because the power of private growth is that it prepares you for a life the old you wasn't strong enough to handle. And when that day comes, you won't need to explain how you got there. Your growth will speak for itself. The moment you decide to chase a vision bigger than yourself, distractions will appear. Not small ones, loud ones, clever ones, emotional ones. The world will test your focus at every step. People will doubt you, question you, and sometimes even laugh at you. And the greatest mistake you can make is listening to them. Because the truth is, not everyone will see what you see. Not everyone is meant to understand your path. Your vision is yours alone, planted in your heart for a reason. The more you explain it to those who can't imagine it, the more energy you waste convincing instead of creating. If you want to reach your goals, you must learn this rule early. Protect your focus like your life depends on it. Because it does. Most people lose their dreams not because they aren't capable, but because they get distracted. They start listening to too many voices, friends, family, critics, society. Everyone has an opinion, and most of them are shaped by fear. It's too risky. It's too late. Be realistic. Those are not your truths. They are their limitations. If you absorb those words long enough, they'll become your reality. You'll start shrinking your dream to fit other people's comfort zones. And slowly, your fire dies. Not because you lack talent, but because you let noise drown out your vision. Remember, it's not the obstacles on your path that destroy you. It's the voices that make you doubt the path itself. To move forward, you must learn the art of silence, not only with your words, but with your focus. Stop broadcasting every idea. Not every thought needs to be shared. Some visions are too fragile to survive in the open air. They need time to grow, to take root, to strengthen before they face the wind of other people's opinions. When you keep your vision private, you protect it from premature criticism. You allow it to evolve without pressure or interference. Think of an artist who unveils a masterpiece. They don't invite opinions while painting it. They create in peace, in solitude, until it's ready. That's what you must do with your dreams. Build them quietly and let the finished result speak louder than 1,000 explanations ever could. And you know what's ironic? The same people who tell you won't work will later ask, how did you do it? That's why you should never let their disbelief become your distraction. Everyone sees the world through their own level of courage. Someone who gave up on their dream will always tell you yours is impossible. But don't let their story rewrite yours. Protect your mental space. Guard your energy from the small-minded. Surround yourself with silence, not noise, with focus, not fear. Because when your attention is divided, your power is too. Every minute spent defending your dream to doubters is a minute stolen from building it. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You owe yourself execution. Distractions aren't always negative voices. Sometimes they come disguised as comfort. The urge to rest when you should grind. The temptation to scroll when you should learn. The habit of comparing yourself to others and losing faith in your own progress. These are silent killers of dreams. You think you're just taking a break, but every distraction pulls you further from your vision. The secret is awareness, noticing when the world is trying to pull you away from your path and choosing to realign. True power is not just in setting your vision, it's in refusing to be pulled away from it. Focus isn't a talent, it's a daily decision. In the end, your vision will demand isolation before it gives you recognition. It will ask you to walk alone, to endure misunderstanding, to be mocked and doubted. But every great achiever knows that isolation is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the universe testing how badly you want it. Will you stay focused when no one believes in you? Will you keep building when nobody is watching? Because if you can, you will rise while everyone else is still talking. And when your time comes, those same distractions will become admirers. So stay quiet, stay focused. Let them doubt your silence until your results make them silent too. Everyone wants success, but very few are willing to be consistent for it. The truth is simple. Talk doesn't build empires, habits do. People love to make promises to themselves. I'll start tomorrow. I'll work harder next week. I'll become disciplined soon. But tomorrow never comes for those who depend on motivation instead of consistency. Motivation is temporary. It burns bright for a moment and fades away. Consistency, on the other hand, is the quiet force that keeps you moving long after the excitement is gone. It's the reason some people rise while others remain stuck. Success doesn't come from doing big things once. It comes from doing small things daily without fail, even when no one is watching. Consistency is not glamorous. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep. It's studying when your friends are out enjoying themselves. It's showing up to train when you feel tired, uninspired, or unappreciated. It's working in silence day after day. When progress feels invisible, most people quit because they confuse slow growth with no growth. They don't realize that consistency isn't about speed. It's about momentum. It's about showing up even when the results haven't arrived yet. Because one day, all those small, quiet efforts will compound into something powerful. Every repetition, every page, every late night, they're all tiny bricks that build your future. You won't see the wall rise overnight, but one day you'll look up and realize you've built something unshakable. People often talk too much about what they're going to do instead of just doing it. They speak with passion, but act with hesitation. The world is filled with talkers, but it only remembers the doors. You don't have to announce your goals. You have to live them one step at a time. Words are empty unless they're backed by consistent action. If you want people to believe in your vision, show them through results, not explanations. Consistency is credibility. It proves that your dream isn't just an idea, it's a commitment. And when your actions start aligning with your words, that's when people begin to take you seriously. Because consistency builds trust. First within yourself, and then with the world. The hardest part of consistency is not starting, it's continuing. Starting is easy, it's exciting. But continuing when progress is slow, when you feel unseen, when the world doesn't clap for you, that's where most people stop. True consistency demands emotional strength. It asks you to keep going when nobody believes in you, not even yourself. But here's the truth. The days you least want to show up are the days that define you. Anyone can work hard when they feel good, but the one who works hard even when it hurts, that's the one who wins. Because discipline is born in discomfort. Every time you push through it, you grow stronger, hungrier, sharper. You become unstoppable. You must also understand that consistency is not about perfection. It's about persistence. You will make mistakes. You will fall off track. But consistency isn't about never failing. It's about always returning. Winners don't stay perfect. They stay committed. They forgive themselves for yesterday's failures and start again today with the same fire. That's how real growth happens, not through flawless performance, but through relentless repetition. Each day, you sharpen your mind a little more, improve your habits a little more, believe in yourself a little more. Over time, those tiny improvements create massive transformation. The person you become is not built in a day. It's built in the thousands of quiet days when no one noticed your effort, but you kept showing up anyway. And when the results finally come, people will call you lucky. They'll say, you made it overnight. They won't see the years of consistency that made that overnight possible. They won't see the mornings you woke up before dawn, the nights you worked while others slept, the battles you fought in silence. But you will know. You'll know that your consistency was your voice, louder than any speech you could have given. You didn't need to tell the world what you were doing. You simply kept doing it until your results became too loud to ignore. That's the real magic of consistency. It doesn't shout, it doesn't rush, it doesn't demand attention. It just builds patiently, quietly, and powerfully. And one day, your consistency will echo so loud that the whole world will have no choice but to listen. There comes a point in every journey where words no longer matter. All the explanations, promises, and intentions fade into insignificance. The only thing that speaks louder than anything else is your success. Let me be clear. Success is not just about wealth, fame, or recognition. It's about achieving what you set out to do, despite the odds, proving to yourself that you are capable, and showing the world that actions speak louder than declarations. When your results shine, they make the noise that you no longer need to create yourself. That's the power of letting your success be the loudest sound. Many people feel compelled to announce every step of their journey, their progress, their failures, their near wins. But this is a trap. People will judge, criticize, or even try to take credit for your dreams. Every word you speak in advance gives someone a chance to doubt, distract, or derail you. The wise understand that silence is not weakness, but strategy. They move forward quietly, letting their work accumulate, and their results emerge as the undeniable proof of their efforts. When you let your success speak, it arrives like thunder, sudden, undeniable, and commanding attention. No explanation is required. Success that speaks for itself demands patience and resilience. You cannot rush it. You cannot force it to happen on someone else's timeline. It is born from countless days of focused work, hidden struggles, and invisible victories. Those who achieve it know the value of staying humble, committed, and quiet while building the life they desire. Each silent effort compounds into a force so powerful that the world cannot ignore it. Your success becomes a mirror reflecting not only your skills, but your discipline, your endurance, and your unwavering belief in yourself. When people finally notice your success, they will often be surprised. They might ask, how did you do it? Or where did it come from? And here lies the beauty of silent achievement. No one truly understands the countless hours, the sacrifices, and the determination that made it possible. The applause comes not because you sought it, but because your results demanded it. Let this be your strategy. Focus on what you can control. Your work, your habits, your persistence, and let the outcome be the voice that proves your capability. Actions executed consistently always carry more weight than words. There's a quiet satisfaction in watching your results speak for you. It's the knowledge that while others were distracted by gossip, doubts, and criticism, you were busy building. It's the realization that you don't need to convince anyone. You only need to deliver. And when you do, the world is forced to take notice. Your silence throughout the process makes the final revelation even more powerful. People don't remember the chatter. They remember the transformation. They don't remember the promises. They remember the proof. Success, when it is allowed to shine on its own, carries a resonance that no words ever could. Finally, let your success be a lesson to everyone. A demonstration that action, focus, and discipline always outweigh noise, distraction, and empty promises. Your work, done quietly and persistently, has a voice of its own. It speaks in results, in achievements, in change, in impact. And when people finally see it, it will be impossible to ignore. Your success becomes your statement, your message, and your legacy. So stop shouting, stop explaining, stop seeking approval. Move quietly, work diligently, and when the moment comes, let the power of what you have accomplished speak so loudly that everyone is compelled to listen. Because true greatness doesn't announce itself. It emerges undeniable and unforgettable. So today, remember this truth: success is not about being loud, flashy, or constantly seeking attention. It's about focus, discipline, and quiet persistence. It's about working when no one is watching, growing in silence, and letting your results do the talking. Every step you take in private, every effort you make when the world isn't looking, is building the foundation for a future that will speak volumes. Stop announcing your plans. Stop explaining your dreams. Stop seeking approval. Move in silence. Protect your energy, guard your vision, and stay consistent. Because the world doesn't need to hear your words. It needs to witness your results. And one day, when your work manifests, when your growth becomes undeniable, when your vision turns into reality, the noise will fade and your success will roar. Let that roar be your message. Let it inspire, let it challenge, and let it remind everyone, including yourself, that the most powerful victories are earned quietly, nurtured patiently, and revealed triumphantly. So move silently, work relentlessly. Let the results speak louder than any words ever could. Because in the end, greatness isn't about who shouts the most. It's about who shows up consistently and changes the world without needing anyone's permission.